You're not a match. There's no biological relationship between you and the submitted family samples. I read those words on my laptop screen at 6:47 a.m., still in my pajamas, coffee growing cold beside me. My husband Marcus had bought me the DNA kit as a birthday joke. Maybe you'll find out you're secretly royalty, he'd laughed. But I wasn't royalty. I wasn't even a Mitchell. What do you do when you discover that 30 years of feeling like an outsider wasn't paranoia? It was the truth. My name is Vanessa. Well, that's what I was raised to believe. I'm 30 years old, married, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I understood my life. I thought I was just the unlucky middle child, the one who somehow never measured up. The one who got the chores while my siblings got the chances. Turns out, I wasn't unlucky. I was unwanted. Because I was never theirs to begin with. Let me paint you a picture of my childhood. My sister Audrey was the princess. Piano lessons at 6. Ballet at 8. A car for her 16th birthday. A white Volkswagen with a red bow that she crashed within 3 months. My parents replaced it without hesitation. My brother Jonathan was the prince. Football camps every summer. A tutor for every subject he struggled in. A full ride to his college of choice, padded by a supplemental fund my parents created just for him. And me? I was the help. From the age of 8, I had chores that my siblings never touched. Dishes every night. Laundry every weekend. Cleaning bathrooms, vacuuming floors, mowing the lawn. When I turned 14, my mother informed me that I would be responsible for cooking dinner 3 nights a week to prepare me for real life. Audrey and Jonathan's real-life preparation apparently involved video games and mall trips. I told myself it was because I was the middle child, the forgotten one. I read articles about middle child syndrome and convinced myself that my experience was normal. Some kids just get less attention. Some kids just have to work harder. But there were moments that didn't fit. Like the time I found my baby photos shoved in a box in the garage while Audrey and Jonathan's albums sat proudly in the living room bookshelf. Like the way my mother flinched whenever anyone said I looked nothing like the family. Like the Christmas when I was 12 and overheard my father tell my uncle, "She's not really ours to spoil." I convinced myself I had misheard. I convinced myself I was being dramatic. I convinced myself for 30 years. Marcus bought me the DNA kit as a gag gift for my 30th birthday. He knew I was obsessed with ancestry shows, always wondering where my dark curly hair came from when everyone in my family had straight blonde hair. "Maybe you're Italian," he teased. "Or Greek. That would explain why you make such good lasagna." I laughed and swabbed my cheek, not expecting anything except maybe a fun pie chart showing percentages of European heritage. I also ordered kits for my parents and siblings. For comparison, I told them. My mother hesitated before agreeing. I should have noticed that hesitation. I should have seen the look she exchanged with my father. But I was too excited, too naive. Too desperate to finally feel like I belonged somewhere. The results came back 3 weeks later. Marcus was at work. I was alone in our apartment, opening the email like it was a Christmas present. The first thing I saw was the ethnicity breakdown. 42% Italian, 28% Greek. The rest scattered across Southern Europe. Not a single percentage point of the German-Irish heritage my family claimed. Then I clicked on DNA relatives. No match for Patricia Mitchell. No match for David Mitchell. No match for Audrey. No match for Jonathan. 0% shared DNA with any of them. I sat there for 20 minutes, not moving, not breathing, just staring at the screen. The coffee Marcus had made me that morning went cold. The sun moved across the kitchen floor. And my entire identity crumbled into dust. I wasn't a Mitchell. I never had been. I didn't confront my parents immediately. I couldn't. I needed to understand what had happened before I faced them. The DNA website showed me other matches. Real biological relatives I had never known existed. Second cousins. Third cousins. And one match that made my heart stop. A 50% DNA match labeled parent/child or full sibling. Her name was listed as Maria Constance. I messaged her that night with shaking hands. "I think we might be related." My DNA results were unexpected. "Can we talk?" She responded within an hour. "I've been waiting 30 years for this message." Maria lived in Philadelphia, a 4-hour drive from my home in Virginia. I told Marcus everything, and he drove me there himself, holding my hand the entire way while I cycled between terror and desperate hope. Her house was a modest brick row house with flower boxes in the windows. When she opened the door, I nearly collapsed. It was like looking in a mirror. Same dark curly hair. Same olive skin. Same nose, same chin, same deep brown eyes that my blonde family had always called exotic. Maria was 52 years old, and she looked exactly like what I would become in 20 years. "You're Valentina," she whispered, tears already streaming down her face. "My Valentina." She pulled me into her arms, and I let her, sobbing into the shoulder of a stranger who somehow felt more like home than anyone I had ever known. Over the next 3 hours, Maria told me everything. Maria had been 22 when she got pregnant with me. She was unmarried, working as a waitress, estranged from her traditional Italian family who had disowned her for bringing shame on them. The father, my biological father, was a married man who wanted nothing to do with a baby. He gave Maria $5,000 to make the problem go away. She couldn't do it. She loved me from the moment she knew I existed. But she also couldn't keep me. She had nothing, no family support, no savings, no way to give a child a decent life. A woman at her church told her about a couple who desperately wanted a baby. David and Patricia Mitchell. Good people, she was told. They would give the baby everything. The adoption was private. Illegal, technically, no proper paperwork, no legal transfer of custody. Just a handshake, a cash payment to cover Maria's medical bills, and a promise that her daughter would be loved. "I made them swear," Maria said, gripping my hands. "I made them promise they would love you like their own. They looked me in the eyes and said you would never feel like an outsider. They lied. Within a year of taking me, Patricia got pregnant with Audrey. 2 years later, Jonathan. The children they actually wanted. The biological heirs who would carry their legacy. I was the placeholder. The practice baby. The insurance policy in case they couldn't conceive. And once they had their real children, I became the reminder of a desperate time they wanted to forget. I drove to my parents' house the following Saturday. Marcus offered to come, but I needed to do this alone. My mother opened the door with her usual tight smile. "Vanessa, what a surprise. You should have called first. We need to talk." I walked past her into the living room. My father was watching golf. He barely looked up. "I got my DNA results," I said. The room went silent. My father muted the television. My mother's face turned the color of ash. "I know everything. I know I'm not yours. I know you bought me from a desperate woman and then treated me like a servant the moment you had biological children." "Vanessa," my mother started. "My name isn't Vanessa." My voice cracked. "It's Valentina. That's what my real mother named me. The mother who gave me up because she believed you would love me." My father finally spoke. "We raised you. We fed you. We put a roof over your head for 18 years. That counts for something. You gave Audrey piano lessons and bought her 2 cars. You sent Jonathan to elite football camps and paid for his entire college. You made me cook, clean, and work night shifts while they got to be children." I was shaking now. "Was that your idea of raising me? Was that the love you promised Maria?" My mother's mask finally broke. "We tried, Vanessa. But you were never. You just weren't. I wasn't yours." I finished her sentence. "That's what you're trying to say. I was never really yours, so I didn't deserve what Audrey and Jonathan got." Neither of them denied it. I stood in that living room, the same room where I had vacuumed and dusted and served snacks to guests who were told I was the helpful one. And I felt 30 years of confusion finally crystallize into cold, clear understanding. "I'm not going to scream at you," I said quietly. "I'm not going to threaten you or demand anything. I just wanted you to know that I know. And I want you to live with that." I turned toward the door. "You'll never hear from me again. And when you're old and you need someone to take care of you, you can call Audrey and Jonathan. I'm sure they'll be as devoted to you as I was forced to be." I walked out without looking back. That was 6 months ago. I've legally changed my name to Valentina. Valentina Maria Reyes, taking my birth mother's surname. It felt right. It felt like coming home. Maria and I talk every day. I've met her family, my family. Aunts, uncles, cousins who welcomed me with open arms and tear-filled eyes. They had never stopped wondering about Maria's baby. They had never stopped hoping I would find my way back. I have her nose. I have her laugh. I have her stubborn streak and her love of cooking and her habit of talking with my hands. I finally know where I come from. The Mitchells have tried to contact me twice. Once through Audrey, who sent a stiff text saying our parents wanted to clear the air. Once through a letter that arrived at my old address, my mother's handwriting, asking if we could move past this misunderstanding. I haven't responded. There's nothing to move past. There's no misunderstanding. There's just 30 years of truth that they hoped I would never discover. Marcus says I seem lighter now. Happier. Like a weight I didn't know I was carrying has finally been lifted. He's right. For 30 years, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was unlovable. I thought I was born to be less than, destined to earn affection that my siblings received freely. The DNA test didn't just reveal my biology. It revealed the lie I had been living inside. It showed me that my instincts, the ones that whispered something isn't right, had been correct all along. I wasn't the problem. I never was. If you've ever felt like the outsider in your own family, trust that feeling. Dig deeper. Ask questions. Because sometimes the answer isn't that you're broken. Sometimes the answer is that you were stolen. And finding your way back? That's not betrayal. That's survival. That's finally, after 30 years, finding home.